What's poppin', y'all? This is Deidre with One Shot Game, man. You already know how the motto go. You get one shot at life, but a lifetime to learn all the game you need to help improve your life. The choice is yours on which route you choose to take. Now, as I always say, you get two choices. The ability to faithfully settle in the life that has been set out for you, or the ability to pave a path towards your destiny. That choice is also up to you. So before I get into the title of my video, I want to say a big shout out to all my supporters. You guys are great. And even the ones behind the scenes, I see you too. Listen, don't get scared at what I'm about to say. But I only like to reveal the truth to people who are otherwise blind and continue to use their source of pain of not knowing and projecting it onto other people just due to lack of knowledge. That is how hate is formed, because everyone targets everybody else for the things that they are unaware of, don't know how to heal, or just don't know. You know what I'm saying? But when you start to realize that the world is based off energy, you know what I'm saying? And how you operate brings that energy back to you or pushes it away from you. So the topic of this video is going to focus on how you got to realize when you do the work internally to level up energetically, your body, you know what I'm saying, starts to be motion detected. Like, for instance, if we lived in a completely blacked out world, for if y'all have seen Pitch Black, they're only able to see through goggles where they can detect heat. That's the same thing as energy. You know what I'm saying? So when you do the work on yourself, your energy elevates. You become noticed on devices that track and monitor people and what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? How they elevate their actions, how they basically control the world off of energy. When you have not elevated your energy, you don't really set off anything. You know what I'm saying? Because you're fitting into that crowd of people who, you know what I'm saying, are not motion detected. But when you start to realize who you are and you elevate internally, you feel me? Everybody has this ability to do this, but everybody won't do it. And some people are open now to do it. So when you raise your energy, now you become detected on systems that you can't see. You know what I'm saying? The satellite, you know what I'm saying? Certain helicopters, like, they can see you. They know that you're moving around, but they try their best to make sure you don't see them. Or they make it look like they're just flying around in the sky. They're not just flying around in the sky. They're actually monitoring, you know what I'm saying, and looking at people through heat sensors and energetic vibration of what they're doing, how they're reacting, what they're into, so they can try to figure out how to adjust the world according to how humans act. So with that being said, I notice how a lot of times when you go to public places or when you're in certain business organizations, they always have these signs that say either notice, record it 24 hours of the day. You know what I'm saying? Notice, you're being constantly monitored. But I think what people fail to realize is that anything in the world that is here to, you know what I'm saying, benefit humans in a way was created through a human. So if you look at it from the aspect of how I see it in my life now currently, video cameras, you know what I'm saying, CCTV, closed circuit television, all of it is censored off of your energetic vibrant frequency, right? And those things are created through what human intelligence lets them become aware of. So say, for instance, you're one of those people who elevate high. I'm just going to speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? Anything I do is constantly monitored by someone else's eyes. Not the person, the vessel, but the spirit behind them. So it's either going to do a justice or it's either going to do an injustice. But they're watching. You know what I'm saying? And they're monitoring everything that you do. It's being recorded. And because when you start to realize that your brain pattern has the ability to be connected to people that create these systems to monitor humans, you'll start to realize how everything you do, people are aware of it or paying attention to it or try to knock it off or knock it down. They're using that as intelligence to fuel the next system to be able to monitor human awareness and intelligence and energy. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much now as it was back then, but in the beginning, me just trying to survive, which means I had to be smarter than the ops. And the opposition are the people who know you're rising in energetic frequency, and they're trying to do everything to stop it. Because if you know who you are, once you rise to that energy frequency, you'll have the ability to know how to create your own life. And they don't want that because they're focused on controlling the population. So when I had to live a life of, I'm thinking I'm just trying to survive. That's what it is to me. You know what I'm saying? Trying to just live day by day. But to them, it's, I need intel on you. You know what I'm saying? To figure out how to stop you in your tracks. So therefore, you can continue to live the life you've been living and get back in motion so that certain people that have the ability to raise their frequency and create the life they live can continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm trying to survive and going left and right and trying to just, you feel me, do things opposite of what normal people would do, it seemed like every time I was always caught or every time someone was always watching. So you got to think how that type of mentality is made into creation, which fuels the cameras. You know what I'm saying? There are cameras everywhere, almost in every public space, in every business, but some of them are recording in live timing, and some of them are taking what they're recording and only giving it to a source of computers that only one person is monitoring, and they're watching. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't see them, just them. You feel me? But you got to think and take it back. Someone with a human brain of aware of consciousness created that. You know what I'm saying? To be able to monitor human vibration and energy frequency. Very intelligent, if you ask me. But I think what people tend to not understand is that a lot of it is made and aware off of human intelligence. That makes them become aware of the problem and the situation so they can project towards that area. For example, say like, you know what I'm saying, during my era growing up, I smoked weed at a young age. 16, 17, we needed people to buy us swishers and backwoods from the store. So we would stand outside and ask adults to buy us those things, right? So say you do it for maybe a year or two, and then that third year, they start sending decoys to that store. You know what I'm saying? And they're catching cases of the store clerk giving these adults certain things so that they could give it to kids. It was because it was informed by an adult. You know what I'm saying? Who probably did it for a kid, got back in the car and start talking about, dang, I shouldn't be doing that. I did it. Spreading information. Or someone who's seen it. You know what I'm saying? Seen an adult go in the store, buy the alcohol, come out and give it to the kids. Whether you want to understand it or not, you basically retain that information in your head and you pass it on and pass it off to someone that usually does counterintelligence. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of kind of like how the FBI works. They use the mindsets of people and how they think and operate, what they see, what they talk about to create things in the world to either help you grow or stop you. The choice is yours. You know what I'm saying? But once I started to realize that's how life works, just based off my own life, I started to understand that pay attention more and talk less. Because when you talk so much, there are people who are pretending in your face, wearing a mask like they're for you, engaging in conversation, taking back what you say to portray an image of them being you. If you've elevated your energy, or figuring out how to become an app to stop you because they know that you're elevating and growing. Listen, I have people right now closest to me that is living the life I identically was living. You know what I'm saying? But behind my back, they created their whole life based off of what I was doing to try to level up in their energy. But they weren't really doing the work. What they were doing was drawing a picture, trying to fit themselves in the picture, and then using it to paint their life as that's what it is. And you can't do it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was authentically living my life because that's how I wanted to live my life. But I grew in energetic frequency because I was myself throughout life, even through the betrayals. You got to think and understand there are a lot more people who've been betrayed and hurt so much that they turned into the darkness. You know what I'm saying? That betrayed and hurt them. They really those people for real. But again, like I said in my past video I just did, they jump-started their energy off of other people's energy to distract people away from the fact that they're really dark people. You know what I'm saying? So again, for people out there that are understanding how the world is based off creation, the only way you can get to a space of creating is to free your mind from the past of you thinking you weren't anything or couldn't be able to create. And that takes you unraveling, unlearning, and relearning a lot of what you learned about yourself. You know, and so why we see a lot of things being created, why we see a lot of things happening, is because people are waking up to who they are and they're knowing what to do, where to go, how to do it, what type of business to start, who to get involved, you feel me, to basically liven up that area or that circumference. You know what I'm saying? But again, sometimes you got to self-destruct before you elevate. So a lot of self-destruction had to happen because people, like I said, live their lives based off of people's energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Imagine waking up every day knowing you're not happy, but you use the energy for, say, from kids or, you know what I'm saying, from grandparents or from family members, siblings, to take their life force and pretend happy. But then as soon as they do something where they look like they're getting ahead of you, you dump on them and make them feel bad about it. So now they get into this space of feeling depressed again. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you walk away with a smile. That's sad, but it's real. You know what I'm saying? We are the CCTVs. Us as humans. Anything that is detected, operated, stopped, controlled is monitored through someone who's operating out of a vessel that works for someone that's used either as opposition or succeeding. You got to think about it. A lot of people are not really themselves. They work for people that control them. You know what I'm saying? So when you go into an environment, you got to be mindful. A lot of people have on sunglasses, and some of them is because they work for the opposition. So anybody with good spirited energy that is turning against the program that they have been in progress with for so many years, they're detecting and watching you, having conversations with people that's really on their team, not on yours. You know what I'm saying? And they're figuring out and watching and monitoring you. I've noticed now recently that there are a lot of people in disguises that stand around and watch and monitor or act like they're not paying attention, but really they're watching you out of their peripheral. You know what I'm saying? To analyze you and study you and figure out what it is that you do that's not making you be controllable. And they use that to fuel the next generation of the world. You know what I'm saying? That's really how it works. People, listen, I've been reading for a long time, but once I started reading a certain caliber of books, I started to realize that a lot of it is not fiction. A lot of it is actually real. They just have to change the names and the location so that people won't think you talking about them, because people easily come in and try to say, no, that's not true. No, that's not how I operate, because that's just how people are. Everybody wants the story to fit them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to try to get ahead of somebody else. You can get ahead in your own life once you focus on you. Stop trying to jump the cable of somebody else. And I get it. A lot of people don't know where to start. They don't even know where to begin. You know what I'm saying? They just feel like their life is not worth living. But coming from someone who used to feel like that, all you got to do is get your mojo back. You know what I'm saying? Focus on something you're entertained by, that you like to do. And I promise, if you're able to concentrate on it long enough, it'll work out. But some people don't even got that because they've been used their whole life. And they fueled their life off of being used. And when now they're no longer of use to anyone, they can't even think straight. You know? It's sad, but it's real. So, knowing and understanding that anytime it's a raid on your house, anytime the police are patrolling, anytime cameras are set up, usually it was through information relayed to them through a human's mouth, through gossiping, through eyes that you know what I'm saying, are being controlled by a certain controlling spirit. The vessel is just a vessel. You know what I'm saying? What you see a person as on the outside usually is not who they are on the inside. You have to do a deep introspection to figure that out, because again, like I said, for me to finally get to a certain age where I know myself, it took a lot of work. Like, I had to really get into the closet and lock in, and that means nobody could bother me. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you're too busy trying to get attention or glory or love from everything outside of you, it'll be hard to lock in on who you are. You know what I'm saying? So every little conversation you have, every little piece of information you release, every little gossip you do, you just don't really know who you're saying that to. And then they can take that, and whoever they're connected to can relay that information and set up a counterattack to either be your opposition and stop you, or to help you grow. You know what I'm saying? So again, you can just know that everything was done first by a human. You got to think, I watched First 48 a lot of years in my life. Only reason why they were able to catch a suspect is because someone opened their mouth and they were able to use that information to pin that suspect at the crime scene at that time. Without that, it's kind of hard if that person moved and operated in a way where it was beneficial for them. But people are always enticed. You put a reward, sometimes people come forward. You know what I'm saying? People be scared. People know the person. You know what I'm saying? People participated in it. People live with that on their conscience, that it's only so long they can get ahead before they feel like they got to tell somebody. And the moment you tell somebody, you don't know who that person know and who they told and who it goes back to. You feel me? Listen, the walls have ears and they got eyes. The outside world got ears and it got eyes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not no longer afraid anymore. That's why I'm comfortable enough to speak my piece on my videos. But I know that someone is always listening. Someone is always watching. You know what I'm saying? And now it's to the point where they can do it energetically. Every post you post on the internet, someone can siphon whatever it is that you say, whatever it is that you're doing through the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because the world is evolving. What was old was used for that system. But as we evolve, now electronics, electricity, you know what I'm saying, new age, modern technology, AI, all that, you feel me, is trying to be used to replace human behavior, human actions. That's why I feel like it's so important to love yourself, to love another human being. Otherwise, they gonna erase us. We gonna become extinct. Ain't gonna be no more humans on the world, on the planet. You feel me? Because they're gonna do everything they can to erase humans altogether. You feel me? So again, as a human being, you are the CCTV. Don't be afraid, you know what I'm saying, of understanding the information that you otherwise wouldn't know. So a lot of times people think they're being recorded and they don't do stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you got to think, when people do stuff they're not supposed to do, they concentrate on making sure people don't see them. You know what I'm saying? But when you notice that someone's watching you, you either not going to do it, or, you feel me, you're going to do it anyway. And that person becomes the CCTV for the creation. And they tend to let you go by a certain length of time of doing that if you stay in the same area or stay in the same neighborhood and you're still doing certain things, and they monitor you and they study you, and then they get you on camera, and next thing you know, they didn't build up a whole case against you and you didn't even know they was recording you, because someone usually tipped them off. You feel me? Listen, it's technical, but it's real. It's how a lot of things were done on an investigation scale. You know what I'm saying? So be mindful of who you are, what you do, what you say, who you around, because a lot of people don't want you to say certain things because they're trying to keep this certain image. You know what I'm saying? Of keeping you quiet, by keeping you addicted to them, so you don't talk about certain things amongst other people, because they know that those people that want to see you do better in life are trying to gonna say something to persuade you from talking to a person that only want to drown you. People know what they be doing. I'm tired of saying people don't know, because they do. So listen, if you don't know what it is, I just told you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.